Hey there, everybody. Kendal here, back from Belize. First actual real day in the groove, in the hustle of life. Yesterday was my reconnection day with all my kids and family and all that good stuff, and just getting things kind of settled. Although I have not gotten my stuff unpacked yet, that is just the way it is. Maybe that'll happen today in the midst of everything else that must happen. But I wanted to jump on really quick this morning because as I was driving, I've just kind of been in this beautiful ease and flow this morning. And there's been just this hustle around me because it's a school day, so I'm taking kids to school, I'm running some errands, I'm doing all this different stuff. There were accidents on the road, there was all this congestion, and just I even had to, it was interesting because I'm driving, and all of a sudden this police car right behind me, it turns on its lights, woo woo woo, and I'm going, I am in a school zone and I am doing 20 miles an hour. I have done nothing wrong. But it turned out he was just wanting to go to an accident not maybe a half a mile ahead of us. So I pulled over to the side of the road. He flies by me, goes to the accident. Next thing I know, here comes a fire department, an ambulance, all this stuff is, and then it got down to this just congested line of one-way traffic with going the direction that I wanted to go. And I couldn't go that way. So I was just I can either sit here and I can just kind of insist and push through to go this way, or I can actually just go where there's ease and flow and just turn around and take that light right there and just go back home, which is what I ended up doing because the constricted way just was too constricted from where I'm at right this very second. So yeah, so there was all of this going on, and as I was doing that, I was watching people come up alongside of me and try to push their way into this congested line of traffic, which was very obviously where all three lanes of traffic was blocked off. There was no way to get through. But these cars next to me, they were like, no, we are going to push our way right in there, and we're going to force our way, just coming up. You could see the accident, blocks back. This was a massive, I think somebody got T-boned. It actually really looked like a horrible, horrible accident. But these people, it was obvious that everything was blocked off. And I was sitting there and I was watching them because they're getting mad, and they're coming up next to me and they're banging on their steering wheels, and they're looking at me pissed off and angry, and you could feel their anxiety that they're trying to get to wherever they're trying to get, and this is the only way that they see that they can get there, and they're going to force their way into it, and they're just going to force it. They're going to make it happen because this is the only way that they can get what they want, so they believe. And then I was just I'm not going this direction. I'm not going this way anymore. So they're probably still sitting back there in a horrible accident, and I'm home almost. But and I'm feeling good, and they're frustrated because they're late for work and they're late in life and they're doing all this kind of stuff, right? And they're not happy. So as I was thinking about that, I was just going, how conditional are we as human beings? We are absolutely crazy conditional. We put conditions on our love. We put conditions on our joy. We put conditions on, on our whole livelihood. And at the end of it, what we're really ultimately doing is we're putting conditions on our happiness. We have conditional happiness. We try to be like these people driving these cars and force our way into the congested lane, into the constriction, because we don't see any other way of doing things except to push our will onto it, as if that's going to make anything better or bring us any amount of joy or happiness, to force, to push, and to just insist that others do what we will them to do, for not their joy, their happiness, but for ours, of course. And they're being selfish if they don't do it our way, if they don't get into alignment to what we want them to do. Which kind of like those cars, right? They're pissed off because we're back-to-back traffic, and there's this, 3 lanes of traffic blocked off with emergency vehicles that you could see 2 blocks back. But no, they're like, no, I'm going to push my way in here. You will let me in. You will let me do this. Da, 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 da. And when it's not happening, they're suddenly frustrated, and it's everybody else being, excuse me, the assholes for not letting them do what they want in that moment. And we do this, we do this in relationship. We do this in so many different ways. And Addison and I were on this beautiful, our girls trip of the year off to Belize the last week. And we had some magical, beautiful moments, just absolutely breathtaking moments. It was a fantastic trip. I will be posting some pictures and everything over the next few days because we had just edgy Wi-Fi. So I have not managed to get pictures out very well. But, with that, we also had little hiccups in our trip where we had what was a very short layover time that we didn't even think we were going to make it through customs, to it extending out to being a enormous layover time in Miami coming home the other day. We had some bad weather issues, and then we also just was really presented the opportunity to feel that anxiety, feel that frustration, wanting to push, a wheel or something. We could have done that in different situations, or just kind of going with the flow and enjoying what life was bringing to us, which ended up being, which is what we did in all those cases. And I believe, speaking for myself here, I can't speak for her, but I really truly believe that because we just kind of went, okay, that's just, this is just happening, and I'm going to just see where this takes me, that energy right there gave us a beautiful opportunity to experience more joy, more happiness, more, pleasure in the whole viewing of everything that we got to see across the whole country of Belize, which, by the way, if you have not been to Belize, I highly recommend. But as all of that was going on, and then this morning's activity and just some different things I've been bouncing around in my head, I'm looking around, and what I see a lot of, and I myself am guilty of, hey, human, right? Only being human here. The human flaw across the board, and especially when dealing with relationship and with finances and just connection, wanting our happiness in those areas big time, because we all want to be in love with life. We all want to be significant to somebody. We all want connection to others. And of course, with that, we also want abundance in our finances, in our wealth, in our experience, and different things. And what we end up doing is we put conditions on that joy. We say, I want this to happen this way or that way. And if it's not happening that way, then I can't be happy. I can't be joyous. I can't enjoy this moment here or this moment there. And we think that because things are not manifesting the way we want them to manifest, or so we deem that we want them to manifest, but in actuality, FYI here, if it's not manifesting the way that you think that you want it to manifest, then a couple things could be going on. Number one, maybe you don't actually want what you say you want. Like, get right with that. I deal a lot with some people, I've got a lot of married couples that really don't want to be married anymore, but they are working very diligently to stay married. And it's causing this massive toxic situation. I'm like, maybe you just don't want the domesticated relationship the way you say you want the domesticated relationship. Like, maybe you actually just want your singlehood, and then on the flip side, there's these single people who are going, I really want to get with somebody. I really want my one true mate. I really want this. I really want that. But they're not having that. And it's like, well, are you really wanting that? Or maybe you're not really in alignment to that. Maybe that's not what your soul is wanting, and you're just saying that because you think that that's what you should be wanting because of whatever, right? Because of beliefs, because of the way you've been brought up, because of all this different kind of stuff. And what ends up happening there is that we put our idea of happiness in something. Like, I must be in relationship. I must have this kind of relationship in order to be happy. So unless I have this thing that I've put out here that I think will make me happy, because that's why we do anything, is because we are going after a feeling. Unless if I do this, unless I have that, then I'm not going to be happy. Or if you're doing this, but I want to do this, and you're a no to that, or maybe you're just not catching on that this is what's going on or something, then I'm not going to be happy because you're not doing what I want you to do, or you have a difference of opinion, or a different desire, a different goal, a different anything than mine, then how dare you? You're being selfish, and that makes me unhappy. I can't be happy as long as you're not giving me what I need to be happy, because I'm dependent on you. I'm dependent on you to make me happy. I'm dependent on what you're doing to make me happy. I'm dependent on your goals, your dreams, your desires to align to my dreams and desires to make me happy. And but you're being an ass, you're being, selfish, you're being self-centered, you're being all these different things because you're not getting on board with me. Well, that's all very, very conditional love. That's all very, very conditional happiness. And there is no true, connection and relationship going on there. What that is victim. That is, I can't live my life, enjoy and thrive and be happy, right here with me, because this is what I got. Like, I got me. And you know what selfishness is? Selfishness is to be in alignment with self, to be in alignment with who you really are, and getting right with that, and understanding that the person that you need to be making happy is you. But that does not mean that others need to bend to your will to make you happy. That if another says, no, that's not what I want, that's not where I'm going, that's totally groovy and cool. And that is completely fine, because they're doing what makes them happy. Now, a lot of the times that's very difficult in relationships, right? I in my personal relationships, I know that I go through this, being a mother especially. This is the lesson of motherhood, and that we teach our children that we cannot always have exactly what we're commanding from somebody. And like, I have a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old, and they are like at the highlight of this, next to my 14-year-old and 16-year-old, who are also at the highlight of, hey mom, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this. And you're not doing that? Well, that wrecks my life. You're ruining my life. To a 4-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 14 and a 16, who are still learning these things, we can look at that and we can go, they're just being children, and they don't understand life. They don't understand that there is this ebb and flow, and that you don't always get what you want from the source that you think that you want it from. The problem with it is that 80+% of us adults out here suffer from this childhood syndrome of trying to demand what we want, and getting very upset when we don't get it, and thinking that that other person is ruining our life. So we're putting conditions on our happiness, putting our happiness in the pot of somebody else, saying, hey, you're in charge of my happiness, and if you don't give it to me, then you're the one with the problem. You're being the meanie, you're being selfish, you're being an ass, you're being a bitch. It's you doing this to me. Instead of saying, how can I please myself? How can I make myself happy? How can I be happy right now? Because if I'm happy right now with who I am, if I'm in love with who I am, if I'm in love with my life right now, wouldn't that make sense that then the odds would go up that I'm also going to be in relationships with people that I really enjoy, in situations that I really enjoy, where happiness is just consistently flowing to me, because like does attract like. And when we are in a state of joy, when we are in a state of happiness, when we are feeling satisfied with our life and who we are, and we can look in the mirror and we can say, I like who you are, and I like where we're going, and I like where we're at. I'm really liking this. That's where life just starts presenting its magic. That's where we get everything that we want and then some. And there's no conditions attached to it. We're not going, I'm only happy when, boom, 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 this happens, that happens, this person does this person does that. No, that's all conditional. If it's outside of you, it's conditional. Plain and simple. So realize, anytime you are feeling low down, depressed, angry, frustrated, pissed off, anxious, and you find yourself going, well, if well, if this happened, if only this was the case, if only she would do that, if I only had this person in my life, if I only had this much money in the bank, if the word if comes into your mind and you're going, if this was the case, then I could be happy, then God's honest truth is you're never going to find happiness. Never. You're never going to find your peace. You're never going to find your happiness if you're consistently looking outside of yourself, if you're putting conditions on it. And those conditions are all outside of you. If you really want that happiness, you really want that joy, look no further to pull a Wizard of Oz, since we're in the beautiful month of October, one of my favorite months, by the way. And since the Wizard of Oz, look no further than your own backyard, because everything that you were searching for, everything that you were looking for, that joy, that happiness, that love, that connection, that intimacy, that passion, that drive, that thriving, the abundance, everything is right here, right inside of you. It is about going internal, finding it there, really truly feeling it there, falling in love with here, being in joy here, being complete here, being satisfied here. And then everything else will line up and it'll match. It'll all magically start matching you. But you've got to go here in order to get there. And if you're going out there, then you're putting conditions on your happiness. And everything you do is trying to get you to happy. So just realize that. Okay? So, all right. On that note, I'm going to go make a little boy happy and go cook some pumpkin pancakes this morning for him as I whip out a few other little details for this beautiful, beautiful day. We are off to go see, there's this beautiful pumpkin festival tonight down outside of a town called Arlington, outside of Dallas, if you're not in the Dallas area. If you are in the Dallas area, this looks like a phenomenal event down in Arlington, and it is thousands and thousands of pumpkins set up, jack-o'-lanterns, and are hanging from the ceilings and everything. And they have them built, like there's this one, I love dragons, so there's this one that is built into a jack-o'-lantern dragon, and it's just, a whole bunch of pumpkins built together and everything. It just looks phenomenal. So it looks like I'm calling it a Halloween pumpkin. It's kind of like going to Halloween Town, if anybody remembers that movie from I don't know, 12 years ago or so. But it's going to be really, really cool. I'm excited about going and just having that experience. I'm an experiential person. I love that kind of stuff, and treating my kids to that and everything. So that's what we are off to go do. I hope that everybody who has had an opportunity to watch it, if you catch it on the replay, please let me know that you're catching this on the replay in the comment section. If you've got comments or anything about it, share your hearts on this. I love to hear those comments about, like, what are those trigger points? How are, where do you see the conditions for yourself kind of coming up? And what are some of the things that you might need to work on to really be able to trigger yourself to tap into the true core reason as to what is going on with you? Like, anytime on that, like, are you pointing outward or are you pointing inward? Just really pause for a moment, take a breath, and get real with the answer there, because we're all guilty of this. Okay, this is not just any one person thing. We are all so guilty of looking outside of ourselves for our joy, our happiness, for love, for feeling complete and satisfied, for trying to look for worth coming from outside, when all of that stuff is birthed right here inside of ourselves. And it's really important to get very real with ourselves. In this time of the year, we have the leaves falling, and we have all this change, transformation of our earth around us, and just this beautiful season coming in, the weather changing, the wind blowing, the leaves, all of this stuff going on. And we are a quarter away from the start of a new year. A new decade happens in less than 90 days from now. And, I know everybody waits until January for New Year's resolutions and all that kind of stuff, but you should start making those resolutions to fall in love with you right now. Because if you wait until January, that's 90 days of not loving yourself. That's 90 days of not being happy. That's 90 days of not feeling fulfilled. That's 90 days of just, settling into your own pain and suffering, your lack of joy, your incompleteness, when you are worthy, you are complete, you are beautiful, you are dynamic right now. And being in the right now and feeling it right now is where you're going to meet that beautiful fuck yes life. So if I've said anything in here that has touched you, made you think of somebody that needs to hear this message, that you're like, yeah, that person really needs this, please hit the share button to help me get this message out to other people. Of course, leave your comments, give me your likes, your loves. Would really appreciate to see all the little hearts. Makes me feel so happy. I'm dependent on you making me happy by hitting the little hearts and loves. Yeah, no, not really, but you can still do it. You can still do it and help promote Conscious Coffee. And as always, if I've said anything and you're like, hey, how do I learn how to be present with myself? How do I learn about self-love? How do I learn about feeling worthy, feeling satisfied, creating that fuck yes life right now? Well, that's where you get to reach out to me. Click on the link in the comments section and let's talk about some one-on-one coaching or some group coaching or different courses that I have, because I have all of that available, accessible, global for you, so that you can take this next less than 90 days by storm and enter 2020, a new decade, a new year, absolutely in love with you. I love you guys. I will catch you tomorrow with another Conscious Coffee. As always, stop existing, start living. And I will see you tomorrow.